What's up? Hope everybody out there is doing good. Back with another one of these what's spinning kind of things. Um, it's it's crazy how fast a week goes by. Honestly, doesn't feel like it yet. Um, but it feels good to keep pushing myself to make something at least every week. Um, this is not really a what's spinning at all because this time I'm gonna be featuring a whole bunch of stuff that most of it I had never heard before. Some of the albums I have heard, but I just don't own yet. They're all on the wish list for sure. So if you're looking for a video showing off physical stuff, this is not that. Um, I will do a collection update pretty soon though. Hopefully within this week. Um, and that'll have a bunch of metal and stuff in it as well. So anybody looking for that, check that out. But if you're not into this, I get it. Um, anyway, before we start, show off what I'm drinking here. This is a called a Dunkel from Whistler Brewing, and it's like a chocolate orange wheat beer, basically. So it's a seasonal thing they come out with during the kind of holiday season, I guess. It's not Christmas yet, but you know, a lot of people seem to think it is. Anyway, it's really good. All right, I'm gonna try to breeze through these because I don't have a whole lot of time at the moment, but all right, here we go. First up, Sacrilege, Within the Prophecy from, man, uh, yet again, I failed to pull this up ahead of time. I do want to also mention, this time I'm gonna put the names of all these albums down in the description for anybody who wants to check these out and make it a little easier. You don't have to figure out how to spell stuff and whatever. Anyway, okay, Sacrilege, Within the Prophecy, from 1987. These guys were a British band, um, female fronted metal band, basically. I mean, they started as more of a punk band. If you listen to their first album, I actually listened to all three of their albums this week. I had only heard the first one before, uh, Behind the Realms of Madness. That's a killer, like, crust punk kind of thrash mix on that album. Really cool. Um, Within the Prophecy, these guys are interesting because they changed quite a bit on each album, even just in the span of 5 years when these were coming out. Within the Prophecy is their second album, and it is there's still some thrash. There's little bits of punk, but not really very much. Um, it's kind of more mid-paced, a lot of it, and this album is kind of known for influencing Bolt Thrower quite a lot. And as a huge Bolt Thrower fan, I definitely hear that. A lot of the riffing on here totally has that Bolt Thrower feel. So if you uh, if you want to hear more Bolt Thrower riffs, this is a great album to check out. Now, I will say the vocals are not amazing. Tam Simpson is the front woman of this band, and she's got kind of a punky delivery. It worked really well on the first album. On this one, she's kind of trying to be a little more tuneful, and it does work. It's not a huge detractor from the album, but it's kind of, I would say the vocals are the weakest link for me. But still, just an awesome kind of thrashy album. I don't know. I don't even know what to call this album, man. It's kind of got a little bit of that crust punk feel still, but man, it's just a great metal album. All right. Next up, we're going across the pond, or coming back across the pond, I guess, to the U.S. with Fear of God. with their debut album Within the Veil from 1991. Yeah, going from Within the Prophecy to Within the Veil. And this is another female fronted kind of thrash ish band. They only put out two albums. They were kind of quite a few of the members of this band were in a band called Detente earlier, who put out one album in the 80s. I still have to check that out. Um, anyway, this is the debut album as Within or as Fear of God, sorry. And this is a really interesting listen. It does have elements of thrash, which is usually what it gets called from what I've read. But it kind of has a lot of slower to mid-paced stuff on it. There aren't very many fast moments, to be honest. There's a couple here and there. Um, there's I wouldn't quite call it prog, but there's a lot of kind of ebb and flow in a lot of these tracks, and they bring in some kind of almost gothic elements, like 80s goth rock kind of stuff with clean guitars and kind of trippy, not quite psychedelic sections, but I don't know. It's a really interesting listen. Um, and Dawn Crosby on vocals, she has a really unique delivery. She's not the world's greatest singer, but you can just feel the emotion that she's bringing into this. It I don't know, it makes it a really engaging listen. Um, Definitely gonna have to put this one on my wish list and check it out again soon. All right, next up, I got in a really like 90s alternative rock mood earlier this week, and I checked out the first two Smashing Pumpkins albums as well, which were pretty damn good, I have to admit. I only knew a couple songs by them before, but I like their first couple albums quite a bit. But right after those, I decided to also listen to the band Failure, and I checked out their first three albums. Another American band from California, I believe. And I want to highlight their second album, Magnified. Um, Man, yeah, weird album cover. But this came out in 1994, and this is really cool stuff. It's definitely within that kind of alternative rock uh, sphere. A bit of grunge maybe in there as well. Um, but they do a lot of experimentation on this album. Um, and they actually do a really good job of balancing kind of catchiness with experimentation. All of these songs they have hooks in them, they're memorable, but they go off into weird weird areas that you don't expect. There's a lot of dissonance actually on this album too. Not like crazy dissonance like you'd hear in, you know, Voivod or stuff like that, but just enough to make things kind of unsettling. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a really interesting listen. They get into these kind of trippy, psychedelic, trance-like sections at points too. And man, this this album is worth checking out, even just for the last song, "Small Crimes." Man, the bass tone on the intro to that is just massive. It's like gargantuan. Uh, I don't know. Yeah, I was kind of blown away by this album, and yeah, I listened to their first album and their third one as well, which were both also really good. Definitely need some further listens for me to actually absorb them fully, but really enjoyed that on first listen. All right, next up, I'm going back in time to Deep Purple with "Come Taste the Band" um, from 1975, I believe this was. Yeah, 1975. This is their 10th album and the only one to feature um, Tommy Bolin on lead guitar. I had heard this once years ago, um, and I've been meaning to check it out for a while, but I was reminded of it by a video that the Metal Theologian posted. Um, Go check out Aaron's channel, the Metal Theologian, if you haven't. He's a great dude. He's been doing this for years now, always showing very cool stuff. He's got an insane collection. um, but anyway, yeah, he brought this up as kind of a did a video about a month ago on kind of like overlooked albums, ones that are by famous bands but don't get the recognition they deserve. And I have to agree with him on this. This is a really kind of, I don't know, it's very different from, Mark II Deep Purple in rock and Fireball and Machine Head. That's the era that most people are familiar with for Deep Purple, and it makes sense. I mean, those are amazing albums, and still probably my favorite three from the band. But man, this is really cool as well. It's got some funk and soul coming in from, excuse me, from Glenn Hughes. Was kind of known for being into that kind of stuff quite a bit and bringing some of that into their sound when he joined Deep Purple. There's a bit of that on a little bit on Burn and a little bit more on Stormbringer, but this one you can definitely tell it's there. But a lot of this is just awesome hard rock. Um, I don't know what else to say about it. The songs are really well written, great riffs all over the place, fantastic lead playing from Tommy Bolin. Kind of a shame that this lineup didn't last, honestly. I would have liked to hear one more album from them, but yeah, this is great stuff, and this is gonna be in my rotation more going forward for sure. All right, next up, I actually another album Aaron showed off in that same video was Budgie with Power Supply from 1980. I think that one came out. So I checked that out. I'm a huge fan of the first. I mean, you can see the box set up here. You probably can't see it. My video quality is pretty bad, but um, I'm a huge fan of the early Budgie stuff, but I hadn't ventured that far into their catalog, so that was cool. That's a pretty solid album. I actually enjoyed all three of their 80s albums, but I also decided to check out the band that Ray Phillips and Tony Borge, who were in an earlier incarnation of Budgie. They formed a band uh, after leaving Budgie, and that band is Tredegar, with their only album that they recorded, released in 1986. And man, this is just awesome, heavy, classic heavy metal from the 80s. It's too late to be included in that new wave of British heavy metal scene. That typically not 79 to 84 is what gets called the new album scene. But man, if you love any of that stuff, you're really gonna dig this. This man, just every song is good. I wouldn't say they're all great, but there are some absolutely amazing songs on here. There's only a couple that I didn't really love. Um, this album is just really overlooked. I mean, I've never really seen anyone show it or talk about it. Um, yeah, if this was released a few years earlier, I think maybe it would get more love. Like I said, it wasn't technically part of the new album scene, but man, the everything here, the riffing is killer and memorable. A lot of these songs are pretty fast. Um, Tony is a fantastic guitarist, and Ray is an awesome drummer. Um, Russ North on vocals absolutely kills it as well. There's a couple ballads on here, but most of these songs are just total rippers. Yeah, if you're into classic 80s metal, definitely check this one out. Um, all right. Switching things up quite a bit here. I'm going with California by Mr. Bungle. Uh, this is their third and not quite final. Was their final album for a while. Um, Came out in 1999, and I'm a pretty big fan of Mr. Bungle. I really like all three of their first three albums. I checked out Disco Volante again this week. I had only heard it once before and didn't really click for me at the time. It's probably their weirdest one, which is saying quite a bit. But that album really actually resonated for me the other day when I played it. But man, this one is still my favorite of theirs. It's kind of more laid back than the first two, and definitely than the last one, which is just a total thrash album. But I guess you'd call this experimental rock overall. Um, but man, they just throw everything and the kitchen sink in here. There's everything from surf rock to doo-wop to like, you know, prog to almost like lounge music and bossa nova kind of stuff. Then there's like metal sections that come in, and I don't know. It's just completely all over the place. If you wrote down everything that happens on this album on a piece of paper, it would sound like a total mess. But in reality, they somehow pull it off. I don't know how. Another crazy thing is they recorded all of this on tape, and there's so many layers going on. Like it's just absolutely insane, um, and such an accomplishment. But apart from the fact that it's extremely impressive, I just really enjoy this album. I mean, you got songs like "Sweet Charity," "Retro Vertigo" is amazing. I love "Pink Cigarette." It's probably the most laid back song on this album, but I don't know. I sometimes just like wake up in the morning with that song stuck in my head. That's what happened the other day, and I'm like, okay, need to listen to this album today. Um, yeah, every song on here is great. It's not for the faint of heart if you're not into weird stuff. It's probably gonna be a little much. I'm a freak, so I love this kind of stuff. But yeah, if it sounds intriguing to you, definitely check that one out. All right, next up, we're gonna go with Depeche Mode with Black Celebration from 1986, I believe. This is their, let's see, fifth album. I checked out their fourth, fifth, and sixth albums a couple days ago, and man, really good stuff. I only knew Violator and Songs of Faith and Devotion before this. All right, no, actually, I had heard Black Celebration once, years ago, probably 5 years ago now. Um, and it kind of didn't really click with me then, but man, I really enjoyed this on this listen. They have such a great ear for hooks, such memorable choruses all over this album, and I love the production. There's just so many layers, so many little things going on throughout all these songs. It's also an interesting listen overall. It's not like every song on here sounds the same. You know, they do quite a few different things. Man, some of the tracks on here, especially too, like the title track, Black Celebration, um, Stripped is amazing. Uh, A Question of Lust. I mean, man, these are just I don't know, some of the best 80s pop um, I've ever heard personally, right up there with Tears for Fears and stuff like that. I've been getting into a lot of this kind of 80s non-metal stuff in the past couple years. So, yeah, really really great album. All right. Next up, I was lucky enough to catch a pre-release listen party on Bandcamp of this album. This is Nemorous with What Remains When Hope Has Failed. This isn't out yet. It's coming out December 19th um, on Bind Rune Recordings. Marty Ritkinen from Heavy Metallurgy is the co-owner of that label, and I'm on their Discord as well, on their Discord server, and he linked the Bandcamp page for the listening party for this album yesterday, and I had to decided to check it out on a whim. I didn't know anything about this band. Some, they share some members with quite a few bands, most notably Woden's Throne, who I'm also unfamiliar with, though I've heard good things. But man, this was a fantastic listen. Um, really great, just atmospheric black metal, I guess I would call it overall, but very diverse songwriting. They bring in all kinds of acoustic sections. There's some just straight up like heavy metal riffing and stuff on here. Amazing drum performance, and all the instruments are fantastic. There's a really cool mix of uh, kind of higher pitched typical black metal vocals as well as some lower growls like you'd find in death metal or whatever. And yeah, the songs on here are just really really engaging. um it's kind of it's kind of a bummer a little bit that I can't listen to this for like 3 weeks now, but man, I was really glad to be able to give this a listen, and I ended up buying it on Bandcamp um during the stream. I was like, yeah, I want to support these guys because they're making absolutely amazing music. um it kind of makes me wish I hadn't haven't been slacking so much with checking out new stuff this year, but um yeah, maybe I'll binge some 2025 stuff one of these weeks. We'll see. All right. Next up, Merciless with Unbound. This is their third album from 1994, Swedish thrash band they're usually called. Um, Not a lot of thrash bands from Sweden if you think about it, but these guys are one of the better known ones. I also listened to their second album, uh, Treasures Within, as well. That's kind of my least listened to of their first three. I haven't checked out the final one yet. Man, I love the debut, The Awakening. That's like just such a ripping thrash album. Definitely inspired by like early Creator and Slayer and stuff like that. It was a little late to the party at 1990, but man, it's still awesome. But this album, they really switch things up. They diversify their songwriting. Um, it's not just kind of a mix of death and thrash metal. They bring in some like folk elements almost in spots. There's a lot of melody as well. This is kind of their melodic death metal album in a way. Um, every song on this is just fantastic. Love the cover art as well. I'm definitely gonna have to pick this up soon. Um, yeah, I don't know what to really say about this. It's just it gets better every time I hear it. There's a lot of like kind of just in the same style as some of those melodic death metal bands from Sweden from the 90s. There's a lot of just kind of classic heavy metal riffing as well as the thrash and faster death metal parts and stuff like that. Um, yeah, these songs are just so well written, so memorable. Um, I would say my favorite one is probably Back to North. It's like 8.5 minutes long. It brings in folk instrumentation and stuff like that, and it's just so epic. But every track here is just amazing. Uh, Fantastic, fantastic album. And speaking of fantastic death metal, um, lastly, I'm gonna do Dawn of the Apocalypse by Vital Remains. Man, this album is just ferocious. Um, it was my first time hearing this one. I had heard their first three albums. Really good stuff. I should check out I should revisit the first two. It's been a while since I listened to them, and they didn't quite blow me away. I really like Forever Underground, their third album. This one is maybe better than that one. I don't know. Those two are kind of right on par for me. Um, these guys are just, this is just some of the most evil sounding death metal you'll ever hear. It's just crazy. Um, I don't even know what to really say about this thing. Um, these guys are interesting too because they write really long songs in general. I mean, you have a couple interlude tracks on here, but I mean, here's the song length: 8 minutes and 46 seconds, 8:47, 8:39, 9:10, 8:46. Then there's, I think, an instrumental, which is like not quite 4 minutes, and then the last song is 9 minutes and 5 seconds. So it does make for a bit of a long album, 58 minutes. I think maybe that could have been cut down a little bit, but these songs, they don't drag at all. Um, you'd look at the lengths of them and you'd think, oh, that's too long for just straight up death metal. But man, it really works. They just pull in enough diverse elements in terms of riffing and song structures, pacing to really warrant the lengths of these tracks. Um, I also got to shout out Dave Suzuki, man. What an absolute maniac of a musician. I mean, I don't know how somebody gets this good at both guitar and drums. I mean, he's got to be one of the best extreme metal drummers of this era, especially. I mean, you look at the 90s, this man, some of the stuff on here is insanely fast, and the drums sound great as well. They're not triggered. Um, I mean, maybe the kicks are, but the snare sound is just perfect. It's got that kind of high tuned, uh, not really pingy kind of sound, but just at the right level, to make it cut through in the mix. Really well produced, just super great riffs all over these. Yeah, this album is just absolutely ferocious and from start to finish. But it's a really interesting listen at the same time. It's engaging. It's not tiring, and you know what? It feels shorter than 58 minutes, in my opinion. So, my only criticism isn't really a criticism. Anyway, so there you go. All right. Yeah, that's it for this week. Like I said, I'm gonna try to drop a collection update. Hopefully this coming week sometime. So look for that if you are interested, and like and subscribe and all that stuff if you want to. Um, yeah. So see you next time. Until then, take care and listen to music.